Have you ever wished that you had a super sleuth keeping your business safe behind the scenes? That's exactly what event logging helps to do. Tracking activity across your IT systems to spot trouble, hopefully before it starts. It's a powerful yet often overlooked tool in cybersecurity. Today, I'm going to be uncovering why event logging is a game changer and how it can keep your business running smoothly and securely. Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. I'm Michael Kinnett. I'm CEO and founder here at iTernal Networks. And here at iTernal Networks, we believe that knowledge is power. So we go live every Friday around 1 p.m. Pacific time on all of our social pages to discuss different educational technology topics to help empower others, especially fellow business owners. These live streams aim to help you to feel more confident in your knowledge about business technology and cybersecurity. At iTernal Networks, we're dedicated to creating safe and secure environments for businesses and really for people to do what they love, what they're passionate about. And we believe that staying educated on technology, especially on cybersecurity, is a key part of enabling that. At the end of the live stream, I'll be answering questions from the audience. So if you've got any questions, throw them in the comments. I will get to them at the end. So let's go ahead and dive into the topic today. Event logging. Sounds boring, right? Well, it can be, but it really is a critical tool in your cybersecurity stack. Event logging involves tracking all of the events that occur within your IT or technology systems, such as login attempts, file access, file changes, software installations, network traffic, system changes, etc. By attaching timestamps to all of these activities and logging them, you create a clear picture of your IT environment and, more importantly, what's going on in it. This visibility allows you to detect suspicious behavior, respond quickly to incidents, and comply with regulatory requirements for maintaining detailed activity records. Beyond providing a snapshot of system activities, event logging is essential for cybersecurity, because it enables businesses to monitor user behavior and to identify unusual patterns, such as unauthorized access or failed login attempts. These logs also serve as a vital tool for investigating breaches, offering a clear timeline to help you take swift action. Additionally, event logging ensures compliance with various different industry regulations, safeguarding sensitive information while meeting your legal standards. I was asked by a client of mine, probably about 10 years ago. He pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, how would we know if we were breached?" And I thought about it for a moment and I said, "Well, honestly, you wouldn't. There's a good chance that you wouldn't, because at that time, their business did not have event logging. So there was almost no way of knowing if a breach had occurred because there was no way of tracking it." That's an example, right? Without those breadcrumbs, without that trail, being able to track down what happened and who did it and when they did it and where they came from can be almost impossible. So let's talk a little bit more about event logging and how to make it effective within your organization so that you know what's going on, and hopefully so you can prevent bad things from happening. First, it's important to start off by logging what matters most. If you track every single action within your IT system, every time a program opens, closes, every little system error, it's going to overwhelm you with unnecessary data. It's going to fill up your hard drives. You're going to run out of space. You're going to run out of storage, and your tech team is just going to be buried in trying to find a needle in a haystack. So instead of trying to capture every single movement in every single system, it's essential that you focus in on the critical events that can indicate a security threat or provide valuable insights into your operations. So the most important areas that I would suggest starting with would be your logins and your logouts. Keep track of when users log into and out of the various different systems. This includes both successful and failed login attempts. Failed login attempts can signal unauthorized access attempts or password issues. So can successful login events. You want to make sure you're tracking successful login events and the information around those. Somebody's logging in from overseas and they shouldn't be, That's important to know. All right. Also, make sure that you're logging access to your sensitive data. Logging access to the sensitive data or your critical business data, including files and databases, can help to identify any unauthorized or suspicious activity. Knowing who accessed what data and when can protect your most valuable assets. It can also help with training. We've had clients reach out to us and said, hey, I'm missing a whole bunch of files. I don't know what happened to them. Well, found out that one of the other employees accidentally moved those files into another folder. And we were able to track that down and identify that individual through the logs and then provide training on how to make sure that that didn't happen in the future. All right. You should also be tracking your system changes. Changes such as software installations, updates, configuration adjustments. All of these are crucial to log. These can sometimes be used by attackers to create vulnerabilities. So tracking those activities can help to ensure the integrity of your IT environment. This is just where I would recommend starting off with, right? You may have other specific needs in your environment to log, such as network traffic and other things. We'll talk a little bit more about some of those. But by starting with those high priority actions, you can keep your logs more manageable while still gathering the key information needed to protect your business. All right, it's also important that you centralize your logs. If you're a really small company, 1 or 2 users, this may not work for you. But as your IT environment grows, managing logs from different devices and different applications and different systems can become a huge headache. This is where a security information and event management, or SIEM, SIEM, system can come in very, very handy. Now, SIEM, just going to pause for a second here and explain a little bit more about a SIEM is. SIEM is an industry term for a very specific system. There are many systems that have SIEM functionality that are not labeled SIEM because they're not made by that same SIEM company. So just keep that in mind. When we're talking about the SIEM and its features, those features can be included in other similar platforms that may just call themselves, system logging, system event management, other things that aren't SIEM. So just keep that in mind. But a SIEM or similar system collects and centralizes logs from various different sources, allowing you to do many things here. We're going to talk about some of those. That allows you to spot patterns across systems. With all your logs in one place, you can more easily detect patterns of suspicious activity, even if they span across multiple systems. This can be especially helpful when trying to identify complex or widespread attacks. A SIEM or SIEM-like system also allows you to respond faster to incidents. Having all of your logs in a single location makes it so much easier to react to those incidents. You can access the evidence quickly, which helps speed up your response time and minimize potential damage. You don't have to go and log into all of these different places and export data and put it into a spreadsheet or somewhere to analyze it. All in one place, all in one central platform that makes it really easy to narrow down and find what's going on. A SIEM or SIEM-like system also allows you to see your network and your systems holistically. By having that centralized logging system, it gives you a broader view of your network, enabling you to identify vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, or weaknesses that may not be obvious when examining logs from each system individually. Centralizing these logs not only simplifies the monitoring process, but also makes it way more efficient, especially as your environment gets larger. As you're implementing all these systems, it's important that you make sure that your logs are tamper-proof. One of the biggest threats to your event logs is an attacker trying to cover their tracks after a breach. So to ensure the integrity of your logs and maintain a clear record of all of these events, there's some preventative measures that you can take, such as encrypting your logs. By encrypting your logs, you make them unreadable to any unauthorized users. Encryption adds a layer of protection, ensuring that even if attackers do gain access to those logs, they can't alter or erase them. You could also consider using worm storage. Worm stands for write once, read many. Worm storage locks the logs in place once they're written, preventing them from being modified or deleted. This ensures the records remain intact, even if a breach does occur. It's also important to implement strong access controls. Limiting who can view or modify logs is a critical step. Make sure that only trusted personnel have access to those logs, and track who accesses them to ensure that there's no unauthorized tampering. You could also consider a cloud-based SIEM or SIEM-like platform to make sure that those logs are not even accessible to anybody on your network. Making these logs tamper-proof ensures that you always have an accurate and reliable record of events, which is crucial for both detecting attacks, right, and complying with regulatory requirements. All right, one of the other tips here is to make sure that you have log retention policies in place. Logs are valuable, but they take up space. And because they take up space, there's a cost associated with that. They're valuable, but keeping them forever isn't always practical. You need to determine how long you're going to retain the logs based on several factors, including your compliance requirements. It's probably the first place I would look. If you're required to keep them for a year, keep them at least a year. But you may look at your business needs, which is the second factor, and determine that your business needs are even more stringent than the compliance requirements. And then you also have to look at storage capacity, right? How much space do you have for those? So I'm going to dig into each of these a little bit more. So compliance requirements varies, right? Depending on what business and what industry you're in. These regulations require certain businesses to keep logs for specific periods. Make sure you understand those requirements to avoid any potential penalties. Also, for your business, you may decide that for internal purposes, you want to keep logs for 2 years or 3 years. Maybe you want to keep them for 6 months. If you don't have any compliance requirements, then whatever makes the most sense for your specific organization. Keep in mind, right, that maintaining them for a longer period allows you to investigate incidents or conduct audits. Having a policy that balances your business needs and compliance requirements is important to consider. And then, as I mentioned a couple of times, they take up space, right? These logs take up space. The more data you're collecting, the more space it takes up. So make sure that your retention policy doesn't overwhelm your storage resources. Strike the right balance between those and make sure you're allocating enough storage resources to have the log retention that you desire based on your business needs and your compliance requirements. And then by setting these clear log retention policies, you can ensure that you're prepared to respond to incidents without cluttering up your system with unnecessary data. It's also important, right? Having all these logs is great, but if you never look at them, it's almost useless, right? So make sure you're checking your logs. Don't just set them and forget them. Monitor your logs to help you to catch potential threats early, giving you the chance to mitigate risks before they become serious problems. A couple of suggestions on how to stay on top of these, maybe without feeling like you have to log in every day and look at it. Almost all of these systems, in fact, I would probably say every system probably has this capability to set up automated alerts, which can notify you immediately when critical events occur, such as multiple failed login attempts or unauthorized access to sensitive data. You can specify those thresholds and say, look, if there's one failed login attempt, I don't care. If there's 5 within 30 seconds, maybe I care. If there's 100 within a 24-hour period, definitely care, right? So set those thresholds so that you're receiving, right, those type of events and being notified that, hey, you need to go check into this. This allows you to respond quickly before a minor issue escalates and becomes a major issue. Catching a successful login from overseas, right, immediately prevents that criminal, hacker, threat actor, whatever you want to call them, whatever label you want to put on that person, right? The quicker you detect that and respond, the less damage is done. It's also important that you perform periodic reviews. Automated alerts are helpful, but you may not have all the alerts turned on that you should. So it's important to regularly review your logs to look for patterns or anomalies that might suggest other issues. Just, whatever that regular review looks like to you, that could be weekly, monthly, quarterly. Determine what makes the most sense for your business and your resources. And then as you're reviewing these, use this logging system to help correlate events across multiple systems. This helps you to identify complex or multi-layered attacks that might not be apparent when examining logs individually. By actively monitoring your logs, you can also stay ahead of potential threats and catch misconfigurations. This helps to improve your overall security posture. All right, this may have been a lot, right? I love logging systems because it really does give us as professionals the ability to see what's going on and to help detect and resolve issues so much faster than the way we did it 10, 15 years ago when we didn't have these systems. If you have questions about implementing event logging or would like to improve your current practice, let me know. I would gladly jump on a call with you to answer any additional questions that you have. I love talking tech. I love talking cybersecurity. That's why I started this company, right? I wanted to be able to help other people to understand their technology, cybersecurity, to be able to do what they love, right? We've built a team around that. We'll post a link on the screen and in the chat where you can schedule a one-on-one with me if you'd like to have that conversation about anything. It doesn't have to be system logging. You know, if your eyes just glazed over and like, I don't care about logging, but I do care about something else. Hey, schedule a call. I'd love to chat. All right, let's see if there's any questions from our live audience. Go to the comments section here. I don't see anything from our live audience. I do see a like from Facebook from somebody. So I don't see who did it, but whoever did, thanks. For those of you that are watching this after the fact, please, like the video, right? If it's something that meant something to you or that helped you or you think it's valuable, throw a comment in there. Let me know, right? Like it, subscribe to our channel, right? Hit that bell icon so you don't miss any updates. We'd love to hear from you. We want to me especially, we want to make sure that we're providing valuable content, that we're answering questions that you have and helping you to feel more safe and secure in your knowledge and in your cybersecurity for your business. So your feedback helps us to create better content that has value to you. And that being said, next week is Christmas. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holidays you're celebrating with your family. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time. Remember, knowledge is power. We're here to help you navigate the world of technology and cybersecurity. If you need anything else, reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next year. Thanks.